Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And I'm
Roast.
Jessica Bun Bun.
This is our Welcome to Derry Season 1, Episode 8 reaction and review. This is the finale.
Mhm.
Everything is tied up. Oh, wait, there is a chapter 1 at the end of the finale. Somehow, some way, there is so much more to explore.
And I'm very excited. I cannot wait. What a finale. This was so great. I mean, I expected that we'd have some sort of tie up with Pennywise, that maybe he would be put back to sleep for another 27 years and all of that. But man, was it intense. It was scary. I mean, there were some surprises still. This was really good.
We had throughout this finale so many interesting things transpire here.
Yes.
We had, of course, references to the movie. We
Yep.
had a reminder there's probably going to be more. We have Pennywise rolling around like Sephiroth in the FF7 remakes with how suddenly Pennywise thinks about time and Pennywise's end goal. Like a lot of my big takeaways, honestly, are about Pennywise and what this
Mhm.
finale is kind of saying about the purpose of this show, that it's not just going to be about, oh, we're going to go into these different time periods and see how these characters live. It's like, oh, there's actually some interesting stakes going on here.
Yeah, here's the thing. I was feeling like this season was going to be complete, that we weren't going to have some sort of a cliffhanger in that way that was like, "Oh, but he's still out there and this is sort of whatever." I thought that it was going to have like a good beginning, middle, end to it, and it did. But then I was kind of like, "Okay, if they are going to go back into other 27-year periods, is every single time going to be exactly the same?" And now it feels like the answer is no, because the minute that we had that confrontation with Marge, where Pennywise was basically like, time is a flat circle.
Yes.
Am I in the future, the present, the past, whatever? If I kill you now, then maybe I won't die later. Or is there another way to get about this? It feels like if he had had that chance, and if, Halloran hadn't stopped him, that would have been it. He would have actually undid what was going to end up happening to him in the future. And it feels like tinfoil hat, the next chapters are going to be all about that, where he's kind of realized that if he goes back into the past, he might be able to take out Marge's parents, take out somebody else that could have led to where his death is, and undo it. Crazy.
It's really, really exciting. I am so much more infinitely stoked for the future of this franchise now. And
Yes.
like, this may be something where if you're, I don't know, a Pennywise lore expert, you might have thought, all right, this is something that, it's capable of. But at the same time, seeing it presented on the show in this way, when it's so clear and so dramatic, it's just really, really cool. But we're going to get more into that, the stakes, what could be coming up next. But before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because we have so much exciting stuff here happening at the channel.
Yeah.
Moving into the new year, we have coming up The Pit
Yeah.
season 2, which we're really, really excited about. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I mean, you guys probably already have HBO or HBO Max if
Yes.
you're watching it. Welcome to Derry. And that's just something to be really, really thrilled about already.
Absolutely. We're super excited for Night of Seven Kingdoms. Industry is coming up. We're going to be covering that as well. Another great HBO show. So hit that subscribe button and stick with us.
Okay, let's just stay focused here on pseudo time travel Pennywise for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the basic grounding for what we can say about this character right now, is that for Pennywise, time, yes, it is a flat circle. Pennywise can experience things in the future, the past, the present. This is a cosmic entity by which it has no real understanding of how we on planet Earth view time.
Right.
So with all of that in mind, it has this ability now to look back at the past, or even the past before that, and think, okay, if I can do something here, I can alter the chain of history. I can make sure that these things don't happen. And I think this is what's really curious to me about what Pennywise says to Marge. There is a part of this that is very mustache twirling villain, where it's just trying to taunt her. But at the same time, there was this weird part of me that made me think, okay, if this is what Pennywise is telling her is going to happen, is she actually going to try to, I don't know, resist it? Is she going to think Pennywise is lying? And could time change because of that.
It could, or she could be like, you know what? If this is going to be the way that it's going to be, that, I'm going to get married, I'm going to be the mother of Richie, and this is all going to come together and it's going to end you, then let's go.
It's something that I think does plant all these different interesting seeds for everything that could be happening down the road. But at the
Yeah,
same time, this is what's so curious about this finale is that, yeah, it is trying to remind us of the movies. I mean, we have this whole Beverly thing at the end of the finale, but at the same time, I really think this finale is more about just setting up the past, because you're not going to have that Pennywise Marge confrontation otherwise, right?
right.
I just feel like we're gonna see now Pennywise try something else. We've had little glimpses of the 27 years before in this season,
Yes.
so it kind of feels like we have a little bit of an idea as to what that could look like, what to expect there already.
Absolutely, and it is so exciting at this point. Just the idea that he can undo his own death. I mean, that could then possibly open up for more movies in the future,
Yeah,
or this show to actually be able to go past where they've been in the films.
yeah, I hope that this is something they toy around with. I want them to entertain the possibility of what if the future can be completely
Yes.
changed. With that in mind, I will say this dot dot dot. I don't want them to necessarily undo the end of it, chapter two. I kind of like that those movies existed. They had a beginning, middle, and end,
Mhm.
because if they completely undo that, what was the point of the movies then at this point? Why did I sit through nearly 3 hours of it, chapter two, for it to end that way? And it's like, this doesn't matter anymore.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, because this is a TV show, they can mess about with some of that. That if it's like the movies can be their own thing. I mean, we've seen a million different movie adaptations of Batman out there, and some things thread, but not everything threads. There's always different stories that are happening throughout that universe of different ways that they want to be able to tell it. Oh, let's do this or kill off someone over here. Oh, they're back now again. I feel like while the movies are, yes, connected to the show in that way, I feel like the show does have an opportunity to be like, the TV show is its own universe. And if we want to mess about with some of the stuff that's happened in the movies, but also include some stuff, because they
Yeah,
have, that they're going to be able to get away with that, to be like, this is just its own thing.
I think it's something they want us to be fearful of, regardless of
People
whether
will be mad regardless.
this is TV. People always be mad at something.
Yeah.
I just love the idea that they're playing around and making us afraid of the very possibility, because even if they don't do anything at the end of the day, just the idea that they could now
Yes.
is interesting, and sort of figuring out the ways to go about that. And beyond all of that, this is the other thing I'm wondering about now, is that, all right, if Pennywise can sort of look into all these different eras, I mean, in theory, it could still look into some of the eras prior to its immediate death, right? Like, it doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily rule that stuff out. Like, maybe that's a little bit of the significance of the post-credit scene, but I'll just say this right now. I didn't really need that. I actually didn't need to go back to the late 80s because it feels like we already had the movies for that. It kind of felt like they're playing around with some ideas there, but that's not the point of this show. And it just didn't really do that much for me in comparison to everything else here.
Okay, so I'm one of the people out there, and there is lots of us out there that haven't seen the movies. And I've read part of the book. I've, mentioned this. I
Yeah.
read it when I was a teenager. I'm 50 now. I didn't finish it because it was too scary. So for me, I'm just going into the TV show. Just with the TV show, I thought about watching the movies beforehand. I was like, you
Mm,
know what? I'm gonna go in with like this clean slate where I don't really know what's going on, and see if the TV show holds on its own. That if you don't watch the movie, is it okay? Are you able to watch it and understand everything that's going on? And the answer is yes, until that post credit scene where I was like, I don't know who Beverly is. I don't know what's going on here. I'm guessing this is some movie stuff.
yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, it's a gift, I think, to movie fans.
Yes.
For me personally, I'm gonna put it away somewhere in my brain. I know what Pennywise is capable of now, but I'm also trying to move forward with the recognition that, all right, a lot of the characters, at least in Welcome to Derry itself, they have an ending or an
Yeah.
ending. Like,
Mhm.
there's people on the TV show that we know the fate of because of the movies, but I just feel like this tied a lot of stuff together in its own neat way, while kind of also doing some winks, doing some nods to the movies, to Stephen King. Like, there's just so many different things going on within what is about an hour and 10 minutes of TV here.
I was really glad that after they finally, they got the dagger back, he's locked up again, everything's going to be okay for right now, that they had like a good time to breathe with the families. That's like,
Yeah,
Ronnie and Will had their kiss, and then Ronnie and her dad left, and Will stayed, and his family stayed. That they're like, okay, we're going to try to, we've decided we're going to stay and we're going to see if we can like help out and figure it out. And, we're all part of this now. So, we're part of the crew. Let's stay.
yeah.
We got the little wrap up with Halloran where it's like, oh, yeah, I've been offered this job at this hotel to be a chef. I'm like, oh my God, don't take it. He's like, how hard can it be? I'm like, oh no. Oh no. It was so good though.
It was really satisfying. I think
So
everything,
satisfying.
all of the little Stephen King references in this finale, I think are really, really good.
Which means we also have to talk about The Mist. Now,
Yeah,
this is a book that I did finish in high school that also really scared me quite a bit. And there's been a lot of like comparisons to The Mist and what's going on here in Derry, where the mist was like rolling out through Derry. But there wasn't a lot of the monsters that come with the mist, because that is part of the mist and that whole story, that there are like all these different monsters that are in there that are taking people, are doing all kinds of horrible things.
yeah,
Really, the big monster that was in this mist is Pennywise, right?
yeah.
So I was sitting here being like, is this really the mist crossover that everybody is saying it is, or is this just fog?
I think it is both. I don't think it's fun. They're not going full mist here, but what I think Welcome to Derry is doing that's smart and interesting is they're sort of winking to these other Stephen King things and
Yes.
suggesting, all right, there is the possibility that all of these things could exist in our world because, not only are we dealing with Maine here, but we're dealing
Right.
with a world where you have a cosmic entity that lives forever that's feeding off of people's fear. And so
Right.
if you're going to have that, everything else in this world can happen. But the real brilliance of the finale and also the films to me is that they never lose sight of the real focus here, and that's the characters. Where, yes, Pennywise is scary and Pennywise can do all these terrible things, but because we had, like you said, that moment to breathe with these people, we're
Yeah.
we're invested in them. We want the best for their future. We care about whether or not they live or die,
Yeah.
and it affects us. That's why, to me, the most emotional moment of this entire finale by far is when we see Rich come in and help in this final showdown. My heart just felt like it was just tearing out of me.
Watching him run by and give Pennywise the bird, I was clapping so hard. I was laughing so hard. I was like, yes, Rich, you go get it. You
Yes.
make sure that you're there as part of this. I was so glad that the show did this. Like, I'm not always about, oh, they're bringing back ghosts and whatever, whatever. But I mean, that's part of this show,
Yeah.
with Halloran being able to see ghosts, us being able to see them as well at this point. Having Rich be back, it was delicious. It was perfect. It made total sense. Have the crew.
Yeah, I think we needed to have the crew, and I feel like the producers are also cognizant of the fact that, all right, if we are going to continue to make the movies canon to what's happening in the show right now, we can't kill Pennywise, obviously.
Right.
So with that in mind, we have to find another way to satisfy people who have been on this journey. And I think getting a full circle moment with Rich is a reminder of that. I think getting confirmation from Pennywise about Marge and Richie, like, that's another little reminder of that. That's saying,
Yeah.
all right, Rich really did have this long life changing experience with Marge, and Marge is going to carry that with her. These to me are very satisfying, and just Pennywise is defeated, dot, dot, dot for now.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody out there that thought that Marge was Richie's mom, I mean, you guys better be giving yourselves a high five right now, because there's been people that have been
Yeah.
saying that since like the very beginning of the show.
Yeah, I didn't get there at that point. I only really
You guys were right.
You guys were very, very right. I was only getting there like maybe last week when we lost
Yeah.
Rich, and it was like, all right, this feels like where
Yeah.
they're going. And, in that sense, it really, really was. I feel like all of the tie-ins and all of the ways in which this connected to the movies, it worked for me because not all of them felt super, super forced. I mean, we can argue about the final scene of this show, but I think beyond all that, it all felt organic enough and it never felt like it was too distracting from these kids and these people we were watching in the present.
This is the thing for those of us who have not seen the movies, the scene with Marge and Pennywise and learning a bit more about Richie and her role in the future and all of this, it was explained really well on this show. For people like me,
Mhm.
not seeing the movies, I know what's going on, and I felt that that was really satisfying in that way.
I think if there is a big question that I am left to wonder about is the end of Shaw's story here satisfying enough? Because we've all turned up a lot of emotions towards this guy
Yep.
over the course of this season. And I'm not saying he was completely forgotten in the finale because he certainly wasn't. It just feels like he ends up being overshadowed by like seven other things that are going on.
I think for me the hardest part of this with Shaw is like, yeah, there was that moment that I had been waiting for, which was, is this just that he wants to unleash Pennywise? Or is there something deeper for him where he's like, oh man, I saw you as this little boy. I want to see you as a man. And that's what I want. I need to be able to face my own fear, sort of thing. And while that was there, I
Mhm.
felt like the writing for it just wasn't there in a way that was like a real impactful punch with that, with him like really looking inside Pennywise to be like, I see you and I'm not afraid of you. I'm okay with this. Go on and do whatever you want. When that was starting to happen, I was like, okay, they're kind of losing me now.
I think that the problem with this show, and it's a very good problem to have, you have so many good characters, and I
Yes.
legitimately feel like there are seven or eight excellent characters on this show.
Mhm.
Not everybody's going to get the ending that they probably deserve, and it just feels like
He deserved what happened to him with
he
Pennywise and
did.
what you're doing to everybody. You
He
got what you deserve.
It just I wanted more of an ending.
I did too.
I wanted something more substantial there. I actually wanted something a little bit more substantial with Lily, who felt like she was more of a main character in the first half of the season. And then I don't want to say she got sidelined. It's just that there were so many other things that were happening that by the
Yep.
end, she just wasn't as important anymore.
She wasn't a lot of what was going on the last few episodes. And while it wasn't about her
Mhm.
and it made sense that she wasn't there, it always is better when the whole group is together. So it was really nice to see her have a bigger role with everyone else, with the other girls to really get this all together, to rescue Will, Rich coming in at the end, all of them. Like, it's just the way that it is. Whenever you have a group of people that work really well together and you separate one or two of them, it's like it feels like something's missing.
Yeah, it does. And I feel like that's just, I don't want to say it's a missed opportunity, but there's a couple little things this finale could have done better. But it's really just nitpicking at this point because I think from an action standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, there was just so much that was done right here. And plus, this unexpected crazy tease for what could be coming up next.
Wild.
Now, Welcome to Derry hasn't been officially renewed at the time of this recording. However, it's close to a done deal, guys. Like, I don't think we really need to sit around and be concerned over this.
No, this show is coming back.
It's coming back, and I also just feel I'm gonna try to jump into a time machine here for a
Oh,
moment.
okay. I'll beep, bop, 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 boop. Okay, we are in the
All right, just
past.
thinking in terms of me trying to do math in my head, which is always a risky proposition. So, Welcome to Derry is taking place in the early 1960s. So, if we go back 27 years
Mhm.
at that point, then we're getting into, the mid to late 1930s. And, that's a time where the Depression's happening. It's a very different sort of era in the
Yep.
country. And it feels like, just from a fear standpoint alone, there's a lot for them to be able to mine and all that. 'Cause it's a
Yes.
really uncertain point in history.
Yep.
You've got Pennywise, who is probably still kind of getting used to the idea of being this clown avatar at this
Mhm.
point. It's still a little bit fresher.
Yep.
These are some of the things that could be explored. And, by golly, I'm just really, really excited to see it.
Yeah, me too.
But that is where we are coming out of the finale of It Welcome to Derry. So let us know in the comments, what did you think about the finale, the payoffs to everything? What do you want to see next season? Let us know in the comments. Hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any more updates coming your way.
Yeah.
and we will see you here next time.